and welcome to Animals Labs. Today we're on my main account. We're going to look at Fireknight at the request of one of our clan members. His name is Zilla. He thought it would be good to do a small series on each of the bosses in the dungeons and ways of going through them. I would ask any of you who've got similar ideas, please reach out to me. We can go through any number of things. It's supposed to be an educational content. Coming up, I'm going to go through just the mechanics of the boss, and then after that we'll go through each and potential ways of pulling down the shield and what you can do if you're unable to pull down the shield. Okay, so let's go over the mechanics of this boss. This is Fireknight, as we've discussed. He has the general passive that all bosses have, where they can't be stunned, feared, provoked, etc. It's hard CC. It's to prevent you from just locking the boss out with a simple sleep or a stun or something. This is the main ability of the Fireknight. He starts the battle with his divine shield. So this is this big shield in front of him. You can see here with the funny eyes on it. While active, he reduces the damage received by 80%, receiving any debuffs of any kind or being affected by the effects of skills, so like turn meter control. This shield cannot be removed by skills. Each hit decreases the strength of the shield, and you can see here it's got a number that will represent that fact. If Fire starts a turn with the shield active, Fire will attack all enemies one time. The attack will decrease enemy's max HP at the start of his turn, and the value of the heal and damage. So when he does damage, he also heals that amount of damage. So there's a few ways that you can deal with this champion. We'll go into it. His first attack decreases all speed. And then the second one is just decreases max HP of all enemies, again by an additional time. So in order to beat this boss, you have to basically break this shield, and you can do so by placing an attack on him. And so Sala has this ability where she would put decreased speed on. As you can see, she actually does nothing when he's under this shield. So you can go through and you can knock the shield off like this in such a way, and when it comes off, he is now able to put all of his debuffs on him. You're now able to drop his turn meter control, affect him at debuffs, and so on and so forth. So as you can see here, his turn meter buff is now at full, and which means after my activation, you can see that yellow, these are all lower than his one. So the next activation in this chain is going to be him doing his big AoE attack on my team. I've effectively done negligible damage here. I'll go through ways after we've shown you his mechanics to be able to lower this shield quickly. One of the ones I use here is just obviously Martyr with the counter attack buff. As you can see, his tummy is not moving. Go through a series of automated attacks, and now we're able to put this on auto, and we'll be able to go through, and this boss will probably never get turned. And this is the main way of dealing with this boss. Given the shield that you just saw, where it ranges, I believe, in early levels between 5 and max at 25, it has 12 different stacks, so you have to hit it 12 different times. So obviously the first thing you need to do is look for champions that have multiple attack A1s. When you go through your champions, you can look at some of them and see, so does my A1 skill, does it attack one time, or does it attack multiple times, enemy 3 times? These multiple attack ones are obviously really important, because if you think about it, he's going to have, if he has 10 shields on and each of your champions attack once, they're only going to do 5 damage stacks of it, so he'll then immediately refresh. You have 3 champions that do 3 times, that means that you'll do 9, and you'll be able to get 1 debuff on him. So apologies about cutting the screen off during the other bit and one of the things later, but we'll just go through ways that you can deal with this particular boss. There are 2 ways, as you know, to remove his shield quickly. The first, as we've seen, is counter attack, removing that shield when you add the champions up, if you have a couple of champions that do multiple attack A1s, you can have counter attack up, remove his shield before your turn meter even goes, as you saw in the example. An epic champion who is good for this, Skull Crusher, ally protection, again fine, counter attack on all of them. It doesn't place it on himself, but if you have, say, you know, Cold Heart or anyone, Nethril, someone like that, anyone, there are a few triple A1 champions who can help there. He actually also adds a heal reduction, which we'll come to later. The second option, and is the one that you'll see probably least used, but is actually pretty good, is reflect damage. And here's the first of the two options. With reflect damage, every time they reflect damage, they take 15%, which is reduced because of his shield by 80%, but it is still a tick. So you have 5 champions in your team, each one of them gets hit. They all remove 1 stack of that shield. Fellhound is an option. Dwarves have some nice ones. Brogni, for a note, his passive does it, removes 5. So you could stack this with reflect damage. Runic Warder, in fact, it's the exact same ability, where reflect damage, oddly worded the other way around, can remove them. There is a Dark Elf Epic, I believe. Where is he? Warden. Decrease attack and play. No. Yeah, 30% reflect damage. So again, the actual number itself doesn't matter. It's just the fact that he removes some of those stacks of those shields. So they're pretty useful for this. Those are your two options. Once you have the boss shield down, obviously the best way of dealing with it is turn meter controlled. Okay. Someone like the All-Star Cold Heart, you know, you can't really go wrong with decreasing the stamina by 100%. And she does damage, huge damage as well with this ability. You know, the usual suspects, such as Allure with her A1 that removes all of the turn meter. You have everyone's favourite uncommon in Armiger. Like a 3 Armigers, you'd need to have counter attack or someone really good at clearing the shield, but early in the game, a couple of level 50 Armigers will get you through probably to 17, 18, where they reduce their turn meter by 30%. They're a huge. Dialar can be quite good. Is one I tend to use with her A3, where she decreases the speed on all enemies by 40%. Sorry, decrease speed, and then 30% on this, which means that they're going less often. If you are fortunate enough to have had the recent legendary, Lysandra is king, fully depletes. Now, the difference between 100% and fully depletes is actually a thing where, let's say that your turn, if you hit them 100%, they could be well over their turn meter. So your turn meter fills up to a bar, but it comes to a point where it's your turn to go. If anything would cause that to tick over, so let's say Relentless is one where you take an extra turn, you actually give an additional tick of turn meter to all of the other champions, which would put them above 100%. It could put them at 110, 120. If you're lucky to get 3 or 4 ticks, you can find that the boss would be on 150, 160%. Your Cold Heart could trigger, so she's the one in Relentless. She reduces their turn meter by 100%, but it actually is only like 80% at that point. Lysandra is good because she fully reduces the turn meter completely, and therefore they're back to 0. You also decrease speed. Again, decrease speed. Increased speed on your team is good, and decreases the turn meter by 30%. And she has the speed aura, like built for Fireknight. If you're lucky, I've seen her solo control a level 13 or 14 boss. If you're unlucky enough to get any of these turn meter pieces or have insufficient ways of doing so, you can fight him the same way. You still need those ways of knocking down his shields. But what you have to do is you have to limit his healing. We've already discussed the healing A1 on here of heal reduction. but there are a few that are really good in here. Again, have to shout out Cold Heart. You know, you know that her A1 100% heal reduction, that's big. 100% means they take no healing, therefore the fight's quicker. And you want to be careful when you're doing this because your max HP is going to lower pretty fast. And in Dwarves, we have Grizzled Jar, who's A1 100% heal reduction. What you do is you put the heal reduction on the boss after his shield has gone down. When he slams, he would normally heal a percentage of that, but he isn't going to. So you can chip him down. Just be warned, as you know, he's going to reduce your hit max HP on his A1s every time he hits you, with the exception of the cooldown on his A2, will reduce your max HP by 15%. So the absolute longest you have is like 6 or 7 turns before your champions have no HP, which, game over, right? We can look at my team. We've got a few very different options here. So I obviously can do 19, 20, 21, 25. For my stage 20 team, which is the one you want to do, I have to run, unfortunately, I'll have to run the 2 Cold Heart version. But my team comp is probably better like this. My way of knocking the shield down is counter attack. Could be reflect damage. I don't actually own a reflect damage champion built out yet, but then I have some wave control in terms of her AoE. She's in a stun set, and then so we have 1 attack here, 1 attack here, 1 attack here, but an 8 combined attacks, which means he will have 1 stack left at 25, but on 20 he has no stacks left on his shield. Then you need to have at least 1 kind of control champion to revive your team, pick your team up, heal your team, and if they can add some CC or an effective ability. And Still of the Drakes is free to play, cannot go wrong. And here she has a stun on her A2, her revive on an A3, her A1 reduces the turn meter again, bonus, and places decreased speed. She's just amazing in this boss. Cold Heart is MVP, as I said, but this could be like an Armager here, you know. Then I just about have enough attacks to be able to clear the boss out. If you wanted to go fall down that tree, you could bring in Grizzled Jar, say maybe here, to place the heal reduction if you didn't have the Cold Hearts. If you had, I believe I've got a Skull Crusher somewhere built out, but where is Skull Crusher? Skull Crusher can come in to be your counter attack champion and knock the team down. So I put together a small team here, just with what I have to give me significant A1s that do, you know, we've got a 3 A1 here, 4 A1 there, plus this, which is going to add up to the magic number of 10 versus the boss. Bit of turn meter control. Again, MVP. I wanted defense down and some damage for the waves, and this could be, you know, you had another champion that will fill this spot, he can go there. Still, as I said, is MVP, which it could be Reactor Draith, and then my version of getting down the shields. So let's just run this, and you'll see how it goes. So we are here at the boss now. This is the team it took. You can see it took a while to go through the wave, so I thought I'd just do a quick see what happens at the boss. It's a full auto team. Works pretty much as I said it would. Get that block debuffs up, puts his defense into the shield, but most of our team looks to be almost knocked out, but we've got Seal to keep us alive. We go through, we put the debuffs up, shield's gone down, got passive, so Skull Crusher here has his HP heal reduction. As I say, he's really good in this boss, this event particular mission. We've got just enough turn meter control between the 3 champions. We have slow on them, we reduce the turn meter there. And he comes, we build up the poison on him. Counter attack is in. Unfortunately, it appears that my team is not quite as well geared. I'm just using champions use here, but you get the idea that we've been fortunate enough a single cold heart. If you want, you can stick her in relentless like my one is, so she gets more turns to go through, or reflex set. You can put refresh jewelry on her. There's some really nice potential options here, but my team, as you can see, full HP going through here. Get the counter attack up. We didn't get the full lock on him, but he didn't heal any because of our HP reduction. It's not a quick team. Again, this is just trying to get it done. Probably find that I think my hunger's not built properly, but there you go. That will get you through. If you need to, there's a way. This guy could you could have runic warder in here or fellhound in here, and it would do a very similar job. You have a lower defense down. Just try to make sure it is an affinity. You are fighting some of the lower level bosses. Again, let's say that you're not fighting force. I would bring in a lure if you've got her. The reason I don't bring her in against force is she has this weird like it seems A1. I don't know if it's a bug or something, but if one of her A1 gets a weak hit, she doesn't do the termite reduction on any of the abilities. So normally she'd hit 3 times, she'd reduce each one, would reduce the termite by 25%. But if she gets a single weak hit, now remember that 1 in 5 of those are weak hits, she essentially does nothing. Here you go. This is going to be, it's not pretty run as I say, nearly 3 minutes on the boss itself, but there you go. Barely free, like, team. So thank you once again, Zilla, for that. Give you a shout out. Thank you for watching Animals Labs today. We'll be back. We'll probably try and do one on either the Ice Golem or the Dragon. We're going to go through each one of those in a series to give you a breakdown of how best to beat that particular boss. Until next time, I ask that you like and subscribe. Have a good day.